For more on the short and long-term impacts of these energy policies in Peru, we're joined by Carol Wise, Associate Professor of International Relations at the University of Southern California. Good to see you again, Professor. Let me ask you this. This natural gas project, you probably heard a little bit about it earlier. This concern about the indigenous tribes, how true is it and what are the drawbacks and how are they going to resolve this?
Oh, it's totally true, although we have to keep in mind that this has been going on for 15 years. The first installation of the COMCAST pipeline and the development of the project came in 2000 to 2004. And interestingly, this has become a model to the international community for at least trying to take ILO convention around indigenous rights seriously and these sorts of things. So you're always balancing the economic benefits over the social and cultural and environmental costs. But I think in this case, it would be a bit intransigent to completely jettison the project. I think that it can be worked out.
What does that look like? What does that working out look like between the Peruvian government and these indigenous tribes?
Well, first of all, it's the corporations. It's a consortium of about 5 or 6 corporations that are the original developers and that are also involved in the expansion. And I have to say that NGOs, international networks, pro-indigenous groups did a hugely successful job of holding the consortium's feet to the fire. If you look at some of the history on this and some of the progress, you don't see a big spill since the implementation of this line in 2004. You don't see a lot of intrusion into the jungle, or you see minimal. It's all boated in, it's all helicoptered in. They didn't build any new roads, as so many developers in the past have done in the Amazon. So what we have now is considered to be the most non-invasive way to develop natural gas that has really been exhibited in South America, certainly.
Are some of these solutions that you're speaking about mandated by the government, or do corporations, or in this case the consortium, do they just find these solutions on their own?
Well, it was either put forth these solutions or it would have been canceled, right? And these solutions were major concessions. The companies also put up, at least $250 million between them in terms of environmental cleanup to account for earlier errors from other companies, Occidental and Royal Dutch Shell. So they did goodwill with cleanup funds, and they're sending everything in by boat and helicopter. Now, this new extension that they're talking about, as the culture, I believe it's the culture minister of Peru just said, it can be done, but it isn't quite clear how delicate the terrain is in terms of the human habitat, right? But they've got to go in and find out. I really insist it could be worked out as a compromise. Everybody isn't going to get what they want, but I do believe that you could reach a certain compromise so that the country would benefit from cheaper, cleaner energy, and the Amazon would not be completely invaded by corporate, if you will, maliciousness.
This thirst for energy, it's not unique to just Peru. Entire Latin America has been growing quite quickly, and of course the need for energy is also a big part of that. Which countries, or country I should say, is really the best example that they should follow in Latin America that you see?
Well, ironically, Peru has the least proven reserves. I think it's around 12 million cubic feet, or however you measure that, whereas Bolivia's got 4 times as much. But Peru actually has, because this was developed late, 2000 is really late in the game. The Bolivian natural gas had been developed much earlier, and the earlier it's developed, the worse the environmental practices, the worse the invasion of precious lands, because we've become so much more sophisticated, and international groups have become so much more successful in really shining a spotlight on these issues and making sure they aren't completely trashed. But I would say Peru is sort of the least rich in this particular resource, but the most cautious in terms of exploiting it, thanks to international observation.
A delicate dance and balance between the economy and, of course, the environment. Professor Carol Wise from the University of Southern California, thank you very much.